Every year they look unstoppable. Every year people call them Super Bowl favorites. And every year when the pressure gets highest, they collapse. So how did a team with Lamar Jackson, elite defense, and John Harbaugh only be known for playoff disappointment?
Play action. And Manning's going to heave one. There's a flag. Beckham's one-handed catch.
Since 2014, the Ravens have consistently been contenders. They've had elite defenses, elite coaching, MVP level quarterback play, top seeds, and some of the highest expectations in football. But despite all that, only 2 AFC championship appearances in over a decade and 0 Super Bowl appearances. That's disappointing considering the amount of talent this franchise has had. Let's start with one of the reasons why. Lamar Jackson. Lamar's playoff turnovers are one of the biggest talking points. In 8 playoff games, Lamar has had 11 turnovers, multiple red zone mistakes, and momentum-changing giveaways. The biggest example was the 2023 AFC Championship against the Kansas City Chiefs. Baltimore was driving to tie the game, and Lamar forced a throw into triple coverage for an end zone interception. That play completely shifted the game. Critics say playoff football is about protecting possessions, and Lamar hasn't consistently done that. One of Lamar's biggest strengths is improvisation, but in the playoffs, that sometimes becomes a weakness. When Baltimore falls behind, Lamar often starts trying to create explosive plays every snap instead of taking what the defense gives them. That leads to forced throws, leaving clean pockets early, holding the ball too long, passing up easy underneath completions. Against the Tennessee Titans in 2019, Lamar threw nearly 60 passes because Baltimore completely abandoned patient offense. Instead of staying balanced, the offense became desperate. Their dominant run game disappears and Lamar becomes a high-volume pocket passer, which isn't what he's best at. Critics argue elite playoff quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady settle down early instead of letting the game spiral. This is the biggest reason the criticism is so harsh, because Lamar isn't just a normal quarterback anymore. He's a 2-time MVP, one of the league's biggest stars, consistently called elite. Some people expect championships. When you're compared to quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, playoff success becomes part of the conversation. And right now, Lamar's postseason resume doesn't match his regular season dominance. And one of the reasons the Baltimore Ravens playoff failures feel so disappointing is because Lamar Jackson hasn't had bad teams around him. In fact, Baltimore has consistently had some of the best defenses during this era. That's what makes the lack of playoff success so shocking. A lot of quarterbacks carry weak defense or flawed rosters into the postseason. That has almost never been the case for Lamar Jackson. The Ravens had repeatedly given him championship caliber defenses. In 2019, Baltimore finished top 3 in scoring defense, had the #1 seed, looked dominant all year. In 2020, against the Buffalo Bills, the Ravens defense held Buffalo to just 17 points. Josh Allen didn't even throw a touchdown pass, and Baltimore still lost because the offense scored only 3 points. That's the kind of game elite quarterbacks are expected to win. Then came 2023. The Ravens defense was arguably the best defense in football. They led the league in sacks, dominated elite quarterbacks all season, shut down offenses consistently, blew out contenders like San Francisco 49ers and Miami Dolphins. In the AFC Championship against the Kansas City Chiefs, the defense actually settled in after the first quarter. Kansas City only scored 17 points in the entire game. That should have been enough to win. And lastly, Baltimore fell behind to Buffalo 21-10 at halftime and went on to lose on a Mark Andrews drop because Lamar gave 2 costly turnovers in the first half. But this isn't just on Lamar. John Harbaugh deserves way more blame because at some point, repeated playoff failures stop being bad luck. They become coaching trends. Harbaugh is one of the most respected coaches in football. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's built a culture of stability, and the Ravens are always competitive. But over the last decade, Baltimore has repeatedly looked unprepared offensively in the biggest moments, and that falls on the head coach. Instead, the Ravens offense abandoned the run, turned the ball over, committed costly penalties, and failed in the red zone. Over 34% of Ravens losses in the Lamar era were collapses. That's not just on Lamar Jackson. That's coaching. That's game planning. Baltimore's entire identity under Lamar has been dominant rushing, physical football, controlling tempo, and wearing teams down. But in the playoff games, they panic and completely move away from it. That's not random. That's coaching philosophy failing under pressure. Against Kansas City, Baltimore looked rattled at the moment they fell behind. A head coach is supposed to keep the team grounded in what works. Harbaugh hasn't done that in big moments. Meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs stayed calm, trusted their system, and executed. That difference starts with coaching leadership, and there's always a coordinator problem. The Ravens have consistently changed offensive systems during Lamar's era. Greg Roman's offense was dominant statistically, but predictable in the playoffs. Then Todd Monken arrives, and Baltimore still struggles situationally in the biggest game of the year. At some point, if every coordinator has the same playoff problems, people start looking at the head coach, because Harbaugh oversees all of it. And the harsh truth is, the Ravens are one of the most consistently talented teams in football, which means consistently underachieving in January actually makes failure look worse. Most franchises would celebrate Baltimore's regular season success, but when you have an MVP quarterback, top defense, home playoff games, and Super Bowl expectations every year, losing early stops feeling acceptable. It starts feeling like wasted opportunity. With Harbaugh leaving for New York and Minter coming in, the tale will be told on the future of this Ravens team. And until they can finally get over the playoff woes and finally get over that hump, they would be the franchise that was one of this decade's biggest underachievers. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, subscribe. I plan to continue dropping videos like this, so if you like what you see, stick around, and see you in the next one.